wasn't the one stealing, but I went with somebody who can drive. We actually opened the car, not with the keys, the tools that they use to open the car. Break into that car, ignite it, and start it, and then we move. Came another thing that was fashionable and very easy, your smash and grab. When I'm standing on the pavement, I can actually see what's inside the car. And normally we would target women, you understand? Whatever things we stole, they actually left them there to keep them there. If we're gonna sell tomorrow, they would come to my place. Even though they didn't know I'm involved in these activities. But when I did this, the intention was one. The chain of poverty was very dire.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, sure, how are you?
Good on yourself.
I'm good.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, also nice to see you, man.
Yeah. Did you not get lost getting here?
I got lost. Had to roam around in Maboning precinct there.
Yeah.
Went into Clicks. I didn't have my lip out, so I bought that, and then I walked down the main street, and I asked by the bottle store, and they showed me this building. That's when I called you at the door here.
Yeah, I like your T-shirt. The shirt, actually, not the T-shirt.
Nice,
yeah.
My granny actually made this for me.
Wow, man.
When she was still alive.
When was that?
I think it was in the 90s. If not 93, it was 94, 5. I just can't recall when.
Yeah.
But that's when she actually did this for me.
Is that one of your best shirts?
It's actually one of my favorite garments. That's why I'm preserving it and then keeping it, making sure it's okay.
Nah.
Yeah, I only wear it, on those times when I'm actually missing and remembering her.
That's why.
Yeah.
For people that don't know who you are, and they're looking at you on camera, who are you?
Let's first say my name is Trinity Msibi. I'm now a godly man. Obviously, I have my previous life, which was not favorable with a lot of people. Okay. So I lived a life of crime in the past, and now I'm actually living a good life, I should say. Not a good life in the sense that I have accumulated wealth or anything of that sort, but a good life, meaning a righteous life, So that's Trinity, not much.
Growing up as one of the son in the family, was it difficult? Was it
for me, my upbringing, it wasn't nice, It wasn't nice, Actually grew up in a setup where it's a grandmother and her 2 daughters and one son, her son. So I grew up in a setup like that. But the 2 daughters were also always away, not in the house. Actually, the firstborn, one of her daughters, is my mother. But she never actually raised me. She was never actually there, to bring me up as, the cradling, the motherly thing that you always get with other mothers. I actually never experienced that with her. And to this day, me and her actually don't get along. So that's the kind of thing that I've experienced growing up, So I wouldn't say I had a great family, set up or upbringing or things like that. But it was just, the granny was the mother because she played that role.
You have an interesting story with a lot of crime activities in it.
Yeah.
But I want you to take me through your first crime activity.
Nkula Alexander. Ne? Now, Alexander is very influential when it comes to activities of crime. Why is it so influential? It is because that was the phenomenon back then, that if you're not Ikinza, you're not anybody, especially as a boy child, you understand? So we looked up to doctors, but doctors were scared of criminals. We looked up to lawyers, and lawyers were few. Doctors were few. Any profession was, scarce, except for the teacher which you meet at school and stuff like that. So there wasn't actually any inspiration in the line of academics and, developing a career there. But I was aspirant. I wanted to be a lawyer. I actually wanted to be a doctor. I don't know if there is a doctor for lawyers, but I wanted to be something big in the law, not even a judge, but above, someone who determines actually for these other people, that kind of someone who would school people about the law. That's what I aspired to do. I also aspired to be a doctor, but that was just me imitating my aunt, who's a sister to my mother. Yeah, because she was so, concerned about education, and she was, very intelligent. And then she went to, what's the school? She went to Demelin. But I'm not sure how were they paying for her, because we didn't have money. Remember, Skulele Mkukwini, Alexander, you understand? Kunabo sister away too. Marabahlali la, loyo wanu hlale skela, loyo wanu ugcwele indawo. And this one that is all over is actually my mother, who never actually raised me. I'm telling you, from infancy, she was perhaps coerced to be there, for those times when you actually need perhaps something else. When her mother would coerce her to say, hey, take care of the child, this and that and that and that. But it ended, I think, when I was approximately 5 or 6 months. And then she wasn't there up until to this day. To this day, I'm grown up, I'm a man. I had 2 children, they passed on. I'll tell you the story as we move forth. Now, you grow up with a setup like that. There is no father, you don't know the father. There is no mother, you don't know that. Now, my grandmother had to go and work and sleep in. When you are a maid for the white people, she had to go and sleep there where she actually works. Now, you can imagine, it's me now remaining behind with this brother of mine. And he's actually my uncle, but I call him brother because the grandmother has become a mother to me, you understand? So when we go on with the story, take cognizance that I said the brother is, Yeah. Now, housebreaking and theft is huge compared to you taking a bicycle in a park or something of that sort. But housebreaking, it becomes huge because it can give you up to 8 years, up to 10 years. But you've stolen, So it's not like theft, but it's housebreaking and theft. Because you're breaking into somebody else's residential area, and then you taking whatever that doesn't belong to you. Now, that's what I continued doing whilst I was growing up. Say around 11, 12, 13, 14. Because at 14, I remember, I went to do a car theft with other people. Now, that's another level of crime. Because when you are doing housebreaking, it's just you breaking into houses and stealing, but now you're stealing a car. And I wasn't the one stealing, but I went with somebody who can drive. We actually opened the car, not with the keys, the tools that they use to open the car. Break into that car, ignite it, and start it, and then we move. And then now I'm known that I have stolen a car, and I also break into houses. It's actually a level.
So it's like your gang. They
it's like now
you.
I'm no.
Okay.
I'm not. I didn't belong to anybody when I did crime. I boss. Angaze ngaba ne boss. I took a decision because of a situation yami ngangivumeli. Yabo. There were times when I go to school I'm hungry. There were times when I go to school with a borrowed shirt from somebody else. Or somebody is actually discarding their shirt and throwing it away. I would say, no. Bring it here, understand? And then I would have to patch it with a fresh collar from somebody else's shirt, whether it was the same size or not, as long as it's going to go around the neck and allow me to fasten a tie. I scraped, for uniform.
So how were you doing all of these crimes while you were going to school? Were you doing them during the weekend?
I was doing them every day. Not during the weekend. Sometimes it would be morning, I would bank school. And then sometimes it would be after school. And sometimes it would be in the evening, understand? So not to, be further tedious to you with the nitty-gritty and all of that, but I just want to take you to this part where I've matured now into this housebreaking thing. And then now we've got 4 friends that I know. These are my buddies. We do these crimes together. Samba sonke schemeless. You understand? The schemeless ngishaya naso. Akuna ukuthi ngaye round no one wabangekho. There has to be one of them or all of them. You understand? Depending on what the other is doing. If they are available, we go together. Now, one day, we are in this suburb just close to Alexandra. We are there, we go, it's at night. Housebreaking, and then we started packing things inside the house. Then we are out. It is around at maybe 10 at night when we get out of the house. And then we have to walk the street. The road we are walking on, we know that there are taxis going to Joburg or to Alex. So either of the taxis that's going to come first, we're actually going to ride there. You understand? So we are walking. Everybody's got bags, either 2 or 1 bag, but I've got 2 bags, and we are walking. It's 2 in front and 2 at the back. But little did we know that we actually, when we were still inside the house, the people in the house, they actually pressed the panic button. Now, when they pressed the panic button, the securities were surrounding and the police were actually covering every part. But they wanted to, how do I put this? Catch us red-handed, you understand? Now we are packed, we have these bags and we are walking this road. We're actually saying, okay, if we can, we'll go up until Alexandra, which is a normal thing during those days. We'd walk with the bags. No one would ask you questions in the suburb. Where do you get the bag? Where are you going? Like it is nowadays. Nowadays you get boom gates, you get securities who will stop you and want to know where you are going. Even if you are in a car, they would want to ask where you are going. Why? Especially if you're going to go through the boom gate, they're going to ask and want to know where you're actually going. You understand? Yeah. So back then we would walk around in the suburbs without anybody questioning where we are going. The security was hired by this house. It will cater for that house, not for the entire neighborhood. You understand? So that was another privilege, so to speak, for us in those activities, because the security wasn't as it is now. Now we're walking down the streets. Now these streets are like, there's outlets, there's flats on either side. Now there is nowhere where you can say if perhaps something happens, you can run into. Understand? It's food outlets, it's your clothing outlets, it's flats, and it's at night. All of them are shut. None of them is opened. You understand? Now we're walking down the street. With the hope that the taxi will come, whether it's going to Joburg or it's going to Alex, we're going to, anyway, get into that taxi and get to the township and start selling perhaps on the morrow of that night. Now here we are walking. In front of us, there's 2 people. Now these people are, men and women, or should I say girlfriend and boyfriend. Yeah. The way how we observed them. Behind us, there's a crowd, but these ones are drunk. We're thinking, where these ones? Like it's during the week. Could they have been imbibing somewhere around the perhaps, but where? But they're acting drunk, understand? And I'm like, okay. But if they're like this, they're drunk, they won't trouble us. And we're seeing some are white, some are black, so, then we're like, these ones, we don't care about them. Now we're walking. At a part where we thought, this is a bus stop. Why can't we take a break here, put these bags here and stand on the side and check if there's a taxi coming down or going up, you understand, so that we can stop one. And then once it's stopped, that's when we're going to take the bags and put into the taxi, you understand. But unfortunately, it didn't go that way. When we stopped at the bus stop, trying to stop a taxi, the guys or the lady and the gent that was in front of us, they actually pulled guns out on us. When they drew their firearms and pointing them at us, in fact, cocked them and point them at us, the crowd that we thought it was inebriated coming from wherever they came from, they actually pounded on us. And cars that we thought they were just passing, they stopped and doing this and that, and then they got us arrested, all of us. And they put 2 in one van and 2 in another van. That was my first time getting arrested. As young as I was, I didn't go to a place of safety. It was straight jail for me. I think I was 16, if I'm not mistaken. But it was straight to jail for me. And I went to jail. Let me just give you the nitty-gritty there. We get arrested. They take us to a police station somewhere around Sentin.
Yeah.
They said, what are your addresses? We tell them Alexandra this. They said, these need to go to Weinberg. Actually, on that morning, early morning, I was around 1. They take us to Weinberg police station, which was obviously in Alexandra. Now we are there. It is our first time. Everyone here has never been arrested, except for me, who was once upon a time locked in a cage. Yeah. So now, these ones we're discussing, what is going to happen? Are they going to let us go? Now, because of what we speak, Estratin we talk, Mabakbambilu minor, they actually would want to know where are your parents, this and that and that. And when they come, they would actually let you go on the basis that your parents will, bring you back to court.
Yeah,
you understand? Yes.
Yeah.
But now it wasn't like that for us, unfortunately. We were locked in for that night. On the morrow of that night, there came a CID. CID now is Private Investigating Officer, I might put it that way. Then they come, and then we were charged, all of us. First arrest, like serious arrest, and then the first time I get charged.
14 years old.
I think I was around 16 at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I get charged. Now I see, these people are not playing games. The stories I heard in the streets where people will conversate, like have conversations about prison and how do they apprehend you, how do they keep you, when you are charged, you're taken to this place and that. So we thought we were going to go to a place of safety, which they said, those are not as dire as prison would be, or as gruesome as prison would be. But we thought we were going to go to a place of safety. And at a place of safety, if we are 4, we had thought, okay, people escape at the place of safety. So we're already conniving to say, when we get there, guys, we make sure we escape. You understand? But unfortunately, favor wasn't on our side. Then we go to the court on the 3rd day, we since we've been apprehended and arrested.
Yeah.
So we go to the court. At the court, we are remanded. Case is not spoken actually on the first day. They just ask the charges, the names, your age, and then they say remand, and we'll see you on this date. Not even bail application is actually discussed on that day. And then we go down, we call it CM Kodin. Everyone is somber, and no one wants to look at the other on the face or in the eyes because everybody's angry and somber for no reason, because we did this on our own, but now it brings, the thing.
The time when you guys were at court, any family support?
Yeah, the family of the 3 guys were there. My family wasn't there. As I put it, between me and my mother, I don't know what happened. I actually don't know, because I hear people saying a mother can die for their child, but the converse is true for me. My mother actually would be, I don't know, maybe clapping hands if I died, because we don't have that relationship to this day. You understand? So with me, there was nobody from my family side. Remember, my mother, who is my grandmother, she's at work. So she can't actually let go of work and then come to attend the court during the week. You understand? But I had already telephoned her, using the police station phone, asked them to call her. Then we spoke to her. I'm arrested. I'm in Weinberg. We did a housebreaking. I explained all the things. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, this and that. And know how mothers could be. Understand? But I had to go to Sun City with the guys for approximately 7 days. And then we came back to court.
Oh, okay.
Yes, not got out. We came back to court. When we get to court, and then we applied, bail application. We don't even know what's actually going on, but we are told there's a lawyer representing the 4 of us who's going to put up an application for us, So they grant us bails, 3,000 each. And then we go down. One guy gets out immediately. The 3 of us go back to jail. You understand? So let me tell you a story about first time getting into jail. For us, it was much better. The thing that made it much better, when we were at the court, we actually met people who already come from the prison. So they're coming from the prison, and then they are here in court to come and attend. Obviously, they are there for a remand. It's not like it's a trial date or anything. They're just going to be told the investigations is still going on, Remand, you'll come back. There's perhaps, on this day, perhaps the investigation will be fine by then, and then you can get on trial. So we go back with these people. They are homeboys, remember. Now, them seeing us there, they are excited because we are new ones. We are identified as new ones. Now, they tell us what is going to transpire when you get to Sun City. Sun City is Johannesburg prison. So they tell us what's going to happen there, this and that and that and that and that. We're listening to them. And then we're smoking here in the truck, your weed and stuff like that. Understand? So no problem. We go this place. Now what I experienced there immediately when I got off the truck, they tell you to squat. And they would say, Chavkop. Chavkop would mean hide your head. You're on a squat and then you're hiding your head. You don't actually have to look up. If you look up and the guards see you, you are actually looking at them. Then they will slap you. That's how crazy it was. And now this is happening in front of you. You can tell that, these people, they don't actually give a damn about who I am or who am I or whatever is happening with me. They don't care. They don't know us. Then we have to behave in a certain way, especially what most people do, I think we should do. We're in Rome now. We do what the Romans do. Now we're squatting in this position for hours before you could be. Now there's a bedlam of noise that comes from the other side of the room, and you cannot see, but you can hear there's a noise there. Now we are from this squatting position, we go inside. Now we're standing on a streamline. Now we're taking fingerprints, actually putting fingerprints, and you put them in a card. There's a blue card, it's one page, just a small card like that.
Yeah.
It's not like the flipping one of our sentenced prisoners, but that one is just one card. And then they write your crime, your name, and a prison number, because everyone who enters prison is given a number. If there was prisoner 144, then you'll be prisoner 145, you understand?
Yeah.
And then the other one, 146, so on and so forth. So, we're given those numbers and then take those prints. And then there's a cage actually meant for the people who are new arrivals. Then we come in, we go into that cage, and then we are locked in there. And then not that you don't see these people in other cages. There's about 7 or 8 cages after your cage. And everyone from those cages comes from court and different courts. Some come from Roka and Soweto. Some come from this. Some Joburg, Westgate, this and that. But you are new. Everyone who is new is in one cage. Understand? But those guys who had came with us, they told us, when you are taken to D section, where it's actually more like an admission cell for everyone else, after the procedures of the paperwork and you go into this cell. Now we go into the cell, they advise us to say, no guys, we're actually from Gomorrah, and then we'll find a guy from Gomorrah, Alexandra. He will tell us on how to go, and then he will pay the guard, and then we'll be taken to a block called A1. There was a block called A1. It was actually a juvenile block. So in A1, we get into cell 3. Cell 3 is only homeboys. No one from another place, or if there is somebody who is familiar with coming to Alexandra, and perhaps, in Soweto, or maybe he's from Tembisa, but he also has family in Alexandra. So we find a homeboy ground, I should say. So we're there. And then, obviously, when you get in, they give you rules. You first start with taking a shower, keep clean because they keep clean. And then you allocated a space to sleep. But it's not that easy. Sometimes you're just given the floor to sleep on. Just one blanket, and you sleep on the floor with that blanket. Yeah. But for us, we were lucky enough because how is the setup of a cell in Sun City? It's a big thing, a big room. Very big. It could be 2 garages that are put parallel to each other.
Okay.
Is it parallel?
Opposite.
No. Like joined together.
Okay.
2 garages joined together.
Joined together, okay.
Yeah, now at the back It's a part where there are bunks, bunks,
Okay.
bottom bunk and a top bunk beds. It's there, perhaps 9 of them, and then they will put sheets around that. So now that place is called China. This is where the who is doing better crimes outside. Actually, when they are incarcerated, they would they stay there, they sleep there. But it's in one cell. And then you find the other, it's called Korea. Korea doesn't have curtains, but they have sheets on their beds. Unlike,
Do they have a VIP section?
more or less something like of that sort. You would say it's a VIP section,
Okay.
but when you're in China, you're actually controlling everyone on the side.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So you observing as a new person coming in there, your goal is either not to do crime again, or when you come back, at least I'm in China. You understand? Yeah, that's obviously when you are young, the mind is careless and you cannot actually, think properly. So obviously you are ambitious about your cause, which is criminal activities. So you think, oh, those ones are doing this. And you know some of them because they come from your township, You think, oh, these ones are doing this at like in our township. They hijacking, they doing house robberies because those were the prominent crimes. Your cash in transit heist were not that prominent, you understand? So it's this setup. There's China, and then on this other side, it's Korea, and opposite Korea, it's in one cell, remember, it's Japan. Japan is actually next to, on levels, next to China. They also have their own curtains, which they made out of sheets which we should be utilizing to sleep with and on. But they taking those and then they doing their thing. It's like a room within a room. But this one is Japan, this one is China. These two, they work hand in hand. They respect each other like that, you understand? And then Korea is people who actually don't want to be oppressed. Yet they stand for nothing in the crime spectrum. They stand for nothing, but they don't want to be told by anybody. So umuntu opokayo okwazi ukuzilwela, they would be in Korea, but they know that each time they are provoked, you understand? But those ones, they stand for their thing. And then you find something esibiza ngegubudu. Igubudu is where laba abangcolile, the nobodies, that's where they sleep. That's where we would have slept had we not known a few people in the cell.
Inside, okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So some of the people in Japan, some of the people even in China, some of the people, maybe this one has went with that one, some other day when they were going to housebreaking, this and that. So we are familiar with each other. Plus, Alexander is a small place. You understand? So we are in that cell. We have to stay another 7 days. Remember, 7 days lapsed, and then we went to court. We came back with bails. And then it was the 3 of us back. The other one got, taken out at the court. Now we are here. We're sitting with these guys. We told them we are back. Obviously, we have some food stuff. I have nothing at the time. No soap, no toothpaste, no toothbrush, no nothing. And my friends, obviously, they had people coming to see them at the court. So they had, some of the stuff. Now, we are sitting there. The next day, the other one gets called at the visit. To go to the visit, see their people. When they get to the visit, it's actually the people visiting them, telling them, we are actually going to bail you out. And then he takes their things, because we were young, and they actually sent someone to go with them to the visit, escorting them to say, go and check what is it that they are giving him there. If they give you tin stuffs, they give you noodles, they give you money, so you have somebody who's escorting you. Like I would say mostly, in prison, someone does you a favor. It's not a free favor. The homeboys, they would accommodate you as a homeboy, but they're expecting. They're expecting that this guy, when he gets a visit, is going to allow us maybe to share with him whatever things that he gets, you understand? So that's why they would accommodate you as a new one. But in a long run, they see, this one is never visited. This one doesn't even change clothes. It might be crazy for you. You might end up in Korea, wanting to fight, or you might end up sleeping wherever everybody who is a nobody sleeping there. And there's too much lice. Lice as in a lie, a bug.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are there, but at least it's sheets and da-da-da. But here, it's too much. You find somebody picking on lice from their clothes and killing that. Like sitting like this. Someone would kill 100 lice in a day whilst you are watching. And you are counting how many times they're actually squashing their finger against the floor. And they're killing lice. And you're going to sleep next to them at night. You understand? And you're going to be wearing the same garments. When you wake up in the morning, you wear the same garments. If you want to wash those, you have to borrow from somebody else. Who's going to borrow you? Because most of the people are waiting trial. They have the same pair of clothes. Especially if they're not visited. At least if you are visited, you get a tracksuit, you understand, yes. So now, they bail the second guy on the second day. The other one had to stay 2 days, and then he gets bail, and then he goes out. And then I'm alone.
Jeez, man.
I had to stay about 14 days before I went back to court. And then I went back to court. Because I don't know anything about court at the time, I thought maybe I would get an exoneration or anything of that sort. But listening to the court proceedings, it's like, remand, you're going to come back on this day. And then I raised my hand because somebody advised me, raise your hand and cry that the bail is actually, higher, you want it reduced and stuff. And then I raise my hand and then say, my bail, it's actually high, I can't afford it, can you reduce it? And then they reduce it to 2,000. My grandmother is here in the gallery, almost behind the dog. There's a dog. The setup with South African courts, it's not like America. You don't find the jury there. These people here are actually in the gallery, it's the community. And then there'll be the dog, and then your witness stand, and then the presiding officer is there. And then this desk here is utilized by the Crown, your prosecutor. Yeah. So now, I'm sitting, and then I'm looking behind, I see my grandmother, and little smile, and then she passes a plastic. There's clothing in there, and there's your toothpaste, toothbrush, and then she tells me, I only have 1,200 rands.
Right there on the spot.
Yeah, but they need 2,000
rands.
She said, I only have this, so I have to go back and try and hustle so that I take you out. And then I went back, but she hustled a few days later, and then she came back and fetched me in Sun City. That was my first experience of getting arrested. Did it change my perspective about crime? Nah. It actually influenced me.
More.
It actually invigorated me. It gave me that verve that you wouldn't find anywhere. Like, when a motivational speaker enters a room of positive minds and speak sense into their minds, and then how they, the verve is uplifted. So I got that, or should I say something of that sort. Now, I get out, on the first day that I get out, at the corner of my street, here are my friends waiting for me when I get off the taxi. And my grandmother went back to work. Then I get out, my friends are waiting for me in the corner. And these guys are coming from robbing, not robbing per se, but housebreaking. And then they are there. They even gave me new techies, what you would call sneakers today. They gave me that. And then they gave me some track pants, in fact, a track suit, a top and pants. And said, yeah, welcome, let's go and smoke. When you say go and smoke, we're actually going to take drugs. So, house. And into sinkauza ngaleso sikhathini Mendrex. Izolo. Siyaphuza nokuphuza utshwala. Understand? Now we're doing this Mendrex stuff. And then we are high. And then later on, after all is done, hey, my guy, we need to go and work. Siyahamba siyospan. Siyafika siyaphula ngalelo langa siyashayisa. We come back, we've got everything, we go and sell. On the morrow of the day when I came, of the day that I came out in, I have money. I'm going shopping. We used to come and shop at small street in Joburg, yeah. Carlton Center. If you went to Carlton Center and shopped at small and come back, in the township, carrying those bags and stuff, you're actually a super. You're actually a VIP, an important person who knows how to take care of themselves,
So when was the point whereby you guys wanted to take it to the next level? Because you kept on doing housebreaking.
Yeah.
How long was that?
Okay, that lasted, I think maybe up until I was 17.
Okay.
It lasted to that extent. But let me say 16 before 17, that's how it lasted. Because there would be times when somebody takes me and say, let's go and steal a car. And I would go, So fusing the two together, stealing cars and housebreaking. Sometimes we would be at a house and with someone who can drive. We're stealing, there's no one, we can open the garage and then we start the car and then we drive. You understand? So it would be one of those things that we would do. So us fusing this car theft and theft and housebreaking, it became a phenomenon. So you would find me in a car even though I wasn't a car stealer or a hijacker for that matter. But then came another thing that was fashionable and very easy, your smash and grab. Now, there's a place called Pretoria Main Road, just outside Alexandra.
Yeah.
It separates Sentin and Alex. Now, that road was actually utilized by a lot of white people who stayed in these neighboring suburbs.
Yeah.
Instead, yeah. So we stand here, the robots. When I'm standing on the pavement, I can actually see what's inside the car. And normally we would target women, you understand. I'm actually amazed at how I don't want women touched or attacked now that I've matured and grown up. But back then, when I was doing smash and grab, there would be a target because I knew they carry a bag, they put it by the side of on the passenger seat. And then I know the woman's bag has got a purse inside of it, it's got phone, it's got other things, your makeup and da-da-da. All the things that are in a woman's bag, they actually sell. But now when you get a guy, you could find this just putting a cell phone on a stand. So you have to break a window, grab the phone, and you run. You understand? So with a bag, at least you might find something. And with women, they carry cash, for their things and stuff.
Got a full wallet.
And this phenomenon of buying with cards and stuff, it wasn't prevalent as it was back then. You understand? Yeah. So now, we did this smash and grab. Now, this smash and grab would happen. We take the bag, we run, but at some point, it had to grow, into something that is actually big. It became hijacking because now you would smash, you grab a bag, and the owner of the car would get out and run and leave the key on the ignition. What does it tell you? And you can't drive. And then you have somebody here on the side of the road whom you are with and they can drive. Actually get into the car, you take it. And you park it in the streets when you get into the township. You don't hide it like you would today and look for a tracker and everything of that sort. Yeah. You just park it by the side of the road and then you leave it there. You go and do your things, you sell these things and you go and smoke, you come back, you're checking the car, this and that. The sun goes down, they haven't taken the car, you go and look for a buyer, you sell the car. 4,000, 2,000, 3,000, depends on what model it is. But it was never above 5,000 selling a car back then. I understand, because we were obviously robbed, we were young and, color-minded, and we couldn't actually grasp a lot of things in the spectrum of crime. So, the buyers would try to be wise on us and smart and stuff like that and take things cheaper from us. But that's how it was. Everybody was selling cars for 5,000, 4,000, 2,000, 3,000, depending on who you sold it to. There were buyers who could pay 6,000 and then, they would excite your feelings and then actually pump you up to say, yeah, we need to steal cars because they pay immediate cash. You don't have to go selling a lot of things, you understand, to get that money. So, if it's two of us, we go and steal a car, we go and hijack there by the robots without using a firearm, by the way. And then it grew up. In a bag, you found a firearm. In a house breaking, you find firearms. And then you keep these in your house or wherever you stay. Plus, I stayed alone. So most of the things that I would pose danger for my friends in their home setup, they would be bringing them to me. Whatever things we stole, they actually left them there to keep them there. If we were going to sell tomorrow, they would come to my place and take the things and then we go and sell. But most of the things that were stolen, they would keep them there by my place. You understand? So it was a crazy setup altogether. Understand? So it grew, man. It grew to a point where now hijacking was the thing. Housebreaking, we would take maybe that car we hijacked, or maybe it's now siyayigogoda kasi car. Yabona siyayigogoda siyayenza kuba ikara yamachita. And then when we have that car, we now use it to roam around the suburbs. When we go to do housebreaking, and then we wait a minute, and then you come where I'm waiting, and then you come and call me, hey, come. Reverse the car, and then we reverse the car, we pack everything inside the car, and then we hit the road. You see how crazy it was?
Sure.
Now, it was me juggling everything that I know how to do and doing it at whatever time I wanted to do it. You understand? So there would be times when I'm housebreaking whilst I'm a hijacker, because whatever opportunity came at the time, it was hijacking. But here's the trick, or not even a trick, but here's the thing. You know, each time I was in the streets, it wasn't maybe for me, but it was for us as a family. Even though my grandmother wouldn't accept any stolen thing at the time, even though my other sister, or should I say my other aunt, the one I told you about that she loved school and stuff, even though they didn't know I'm involved in these activities. But when I did this, the intention was one. The chain of poverty was very dire, to a point of I had to get out of the house to go and watch TV somewhere else. And you would find those people now, they want to eat and they can't prepare food because you are there, you know, that type of a thing. Not because they are actually bad people. It's actually stuff that people would do because they're also lacking. No one has enough, but those who have, they have enough for their own family. You understand? So you would be caught up into all these things that actually made you someone who's not actually welcomed anyway. Now, you thinking of the whole situation and thinking of the background of the family, it would actually make you want to say, my grandmother needs to stop working for those white people because they treat her like a dog. Remember, I'm robbing these people. I'm breaking into these people's houses. Then my grandmother, when she comes back home, she brings leftovers from those people to actually feed me. You understand? And I've hidden what I'm doing. She knows I was arrested before, but I told her I stopped. But she brings these leftovers and old clothing and whatever things those bosses have given her to come in and fend for me. But it didn't sit well with me. I always, how do I put this? I always took umbrage, if I may put it that way, of those actions. Perhaps they were doing it as a gesture of kindness, but for me it wasn't. I felt like if a gesture like that can be performed for a dog, I felt I'm lowered into that standard, to a point where I told my grandmother, I'm not going to come again and fetch food from the suburb, because I would go like 3 kilometers to go and fetch food at her place of work. And I would find food that they ate yesterday, she's prepared on the side, and others, and this and that, it's packed there. And there would be this amakromula, angazi wena ngeke wazi amakromula. Mara amakromula is dried bread, buns, rolls, everything that is dried, like your what they do with biltong. They did it with breads, different kinds of breads. Even rye, you would find it there, even this and that, and sour bread, you'd find every type of bread dried there. Even your, what's this thing, rusks, your Oma rusks, you would find there in that pack. So I would go into the Babs and go and get that nonsense and then bring it here. Actually, that's how my grandmother would afford to feed me. Unless she's paid month end, she comes and buy mealies and this and that and that. Now, nobody could stand that. And not from my point of view, actually looking into the situation and saying, I get hungry, I want to do this. No. I observed the entire situation. Ugogo akasebenzi, usebenza emakitchen. I've got a mother that is not there. She's a mother. She's present as a human being, but motherly, she's not there. Understand? I've got someone who's my aunt, whom at some point I thought she was my mother as well. Understand? And also when I was a toddler, I was raised up by another aunt, whom I thought she was my mother too. And I actually was raised by another from being, say, 2 years of age up until 6 years. Another aunt whom I thought, you can imagine the confusion I had in my head. You understand? Growing up. Now, that on its own, it wasn't the reason for me to do crime. But the reason for me to do crime was to actually break the chains of poverty, because I saw what they are bringing about into the family. It's actually animosity. And somehow the animosity was unnecessary for it to exist within the family. You understand there's no relationship between the firstborn daughter with the mother, and there is no relationship between the daughter and the son, and the other one is at school, the other one went to his father, and then the grandmother is working there, and this one is left alone. So me, in my understanding or observation of that situation, now I had thought, no. What would be prudent in this, it's me getting money. When there is money, everybody's going to come together under one roof. So it was actually not for me. My guy, I go to school with shoes. Underneath, they're torn. And I would put a card box in there.
In front.
Not even, not perhaps maybe zivulekile, but ngaphansi zikhathekile. So amanzi, wherever you stepped, amanzi ayangena. When it's raining, you are sure my socks nezambane libhobokile. You understand? And I have to go to school. Then in school, ngithola abantwana abanabomama. They speak about their mothers, they speak about their father, they speak about their grannies. And these people are very fond of their family. But I don't have that. I'm actually fond of my grandmother, but partly fond because there are things that she does, there are things that she doesn't do. Yeah. Whereas comparing her with other grandmothers, I see they're on the same level, especially in matters of economy. You understand? She can provide for both me and my uncle, who is my brother in that instant. Now, thinking that my brother is now in boarding school, I'm left alone. My grandmother could actually cater for me, but things are not like that. She's sending money there where her child, a real child, is. You understand? So I have to fend for myself. But all in all, I wanted to fend for the family. So that if I knew that if I would break the chain of poverty here, things are going to come back together. Everyone's going to want to belong to this family, because I saw it in other families, you understand. So it actually stayed with me for a longer time, thinking of it to say, I need to break this. Nevertheless, this thing of the house breaking and this smash and grab, it went on. Now there were hijackings that were done, understand. Did hijacking, did other types of robberies, did hijacking, did other types of robberies. Like you find a white person is jogging in the burbs, and then you go there and you hijack, you take whatever possessions they have, and then you get into a car, you go back to the township, and then you sell those, get whatever money you get, provide for that day for your food, whatever thing, clothing and stuff. But what started as a dream to break a chain of poverty became a habit. You understand? This is where I say crime is also an addiction. Because you get addicted to a crime. You understand? Because there is a point where you actually awufuni nyuku, unenyuku, marabat has vice around it. And you want to go there. You understand? So I say it's an addiction, but your shrinks and other professions have actually missed that part. They think habits get developed after 21 days, I understand that part. But as to diagnosing crime as an addiction, many have never done that. But I've figured out, whilst you're in jail and you cogitating about a lot of things, you get to actually label this and brand this, that, and analyze situations. So I figured that for me to say, I'm no longer going to do crime, I need to actually treat it as an addiction, so that I stop, knowing that if I ever indulged once, I'm hooked on it. So that's how I actually cogitated about it while sitting on a bunk in prison, and then thought, no. This wouldn't be fine now. But I'll tell you about how it came about that I was reformed, because I'm only a year and 10 months now outside, and having spent 12 years in prison. You understand? Yeah. So now this develops. When it was now in its prime, this hijacking thing, and things now are starting to becoming okay. I've now built a room there. It's nice. It's a 2-roomed house. Now it's no longer a tin house. Now we're staying there. We have your TV, we have that. I'm still staying alone, by the way. My grandmother is there. My mother, whom I can see sometimes in the township, who I don't know where she stays, That other aunt of mine died.
The one that education.
Yes.
Yeah.
She actually passed on, and she was in her 3rd year. I don't know what she was studying, but she wanted to study that, get done with it, and go and study to be a doctor, a physician.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was actually one of the people who was my inspiration, because I wanted this because she had always spoken about that. Wanted to be a doctor of something, wanted to be educated because she had always spoken of that. You understand? So it came as a shock when she died, and something that was discouraging. At the same time, I was very flummoxed about it, because I actually didn't understand what was going on. And here is this person whom is my inspiration, whom I know that if they get their education together and they get a job, I'm quitting crime. They die. What's your next move?
That's like disappointment.
You understand?
Of hope.
Yeah. Like I said, I was flummoxed by the whole thing. It destroyed me somehow. Nevertheless, I continued in this. Exacerbated by that death, I committed to crime, to a point where even when my brother came back from boarding school, when I'm saying my brother, remember it's my uncle, but me and him were brothers because of the age difference. It wasn't a gap, a big one, 2 years difference. So when he came back from boarding school and saying, he comes back to Joburg. We actually did crime together. And we're from the same house. Yeah, we had a lot of people from the same houses in Alexander who did the same thing, which could actually jeopardize lives. We had some arrested, some died during criminal activities, some died and they were from the same house, died on the same scene on the same day. And some get arrested, and we actually had those. Some it's an uncle and a nephew, some It would be crazy, you understand? Well, he comes back, now we join hands into these criminal activities. We did this, and then he goes to Mpumalanga. He goes and stays there. Now he recruits people. He's a Joburg, I remember. He comes from Jozi, so, he's thinking he's the one who knows everything. Then he recruits people. I always come, bring whatever I can bring, like your gun, your bullets for them, because I access them very easily here. You understand? Yes. So I bring that for them. Now he recruits these people from that other side. Now, how do they operate? They rob businesses on that side. He's making money. Sometimes I'm there doing it with them. Sometimes I'm here because I loved my Joburg, you understand? So when I'm in Alexandra, I'm fine. When I'm not there, I'm actually thinking, hey, I'm in a foreign land here. I need to go back home, you understand? So now, fast forward to when we were committing crimes together, even in Joburg and there and there, and then he comes back this side. When he comes back this side, he says to me, Eish, my guy, you only lekala. Siyaganga sonke. I understand. So if we are both doing crime, if we both die or we both get arrested, how is she going to feel? And I said, my man, what do we do? Because you're making sense. What is it that we need to do? Load shedding.